Fantastic. All right. So thank you all for joining me today on our IntelliSearch webinar that I have titled Beyond the Checkbox. So IntelliSearch has gotten a lot of feedback and a lot of really good feedback. And um, this webinar is really meant to bridge the gap between feedback we received, demystifying IntelliSearch, while also really providing more real world examples, some walkthroughs, giving you a taste of like what either the user experience is going to be in the CAA in the back end, or what your site visitor experience is going to be like on the front end. Also have best practices, tips and tricks as well. So that's what's on the docket for this webinar. And like I mentioned before, this is being recorded, and everyone that registered will get a direct link to the recording, and we'll also go ahead and put this in the featured replays of Sierra Academy for you to review later. All right, so the first thing here is a little video of really just teasing IntelliSearch, which I'm pretty sure you all who joined this call are familiar with, but just want to set the stage with IntelliSearch for you.
It's 5 o'clock on Friday, and you've got dinner plans with friends, but your client just has to find a 3-bed, 3-bath condo with pickleball courts. Tonight, here's how IntelliSearch saves your Friday night. Jump into the CAA and click New Save Search. Click Data Sources and select FMLS for Atlanta. Click Location and simply type in Atlanta. Under Home Basics, check those boxes and set minimum bedrooms and baths to 3+. Set property type to condo. Now for the magic. In keyword search, type pickleball and sort results by days on market to show the latest listings first. Oh, wait, they want a new building? No problem. Under common criteria, set minimum build year to 2020. And done. You've created a search that finds exactly what your client needs, can be reused for future clients, might even boost your SEO, and you can still make dinner despite Atlanta traffic. Now that's working smarter.
Right. So that's a little bit of how we at Sierra really envision IntelliSearch helping everyone is by making your searches easier for you to complete. So here is what's on our agenda today. Hoping that there are 5 key takeaways that you can leave this session with. One is really like let's break down what IntelliSearch is, but more importantly, how it works. And this is where I really want to allow everyone to see a little bit behind how the sausage is made, right? And what I have found when I was first presented with the feature here at Sierra, and then thought about how it's going to be leveraged and what educational materials we may or may not need, was I really started with, well, how does it even work? And I think that's a big part of IntelliSearch in really unlocking how you all can use it in your businesses with that. I'm also going to really provide a breakdown of how IntelliSearch differs from traditional search tools. What I'm really excited about diving into with you all, though, is more about how we can use it. So how to build keyword rich searches, how to really use lifestyle driven searches to your advantage, which leads right into what I perceive to be the biggest benefit of something like IntelliSearch, which is the opportunity for better and more improved SEO and lead generating strategies with IntelliSearch. And then we'll wrap up today's session with best practices, some troubleshooting tips, as well as any other questions that you might have. So this is intended to be more of a conversation training webinar than it is really me talking at you. So I would love to hear any questions that you all might have. Feel free to post them in the chat or the Q&A. If it makes sense to answer it in the moment, I will go ahead and take time to answer it in the moment. If it makes more sense to hold it to the end, we'll hold it to the end. So these are the takeaways that I have for us, and let's go ahead and dive right in. So like I mentioned, I like to start with the what and the why of IntelliSearch. Oh, thank you, David. I will go ahead and enable chat. Okay, thank you, David, for that. Chat has now been enabled, so feel free to either use the chat or the Q&A. All right, so the what and the why behind IntelliSearch. So in today's real estate market, I hope we can all agree that our buyers and sellers don't really search in MLS fields, right? I've been a broker and an agent in a previous life. I've been licensed for over a decade and understand how like our MLSs are just a series of checkboxes. And we as real estate professionals are used to scouring through the checkboxes, but that's not the reality for our site visitors, right? Site visitors have moved into a realm where they want to keyword search. And this is really with how LLMs, large language models, and AI in general have really taken off. I mean, you can't Google anything now without seeing the AI overview, or even like if you're like myself, I'd rather go to ChatGPT or Gemini to search for things rather than the Google experience now. And this is really where we want to allow Sierra clients to meet their site visitors where they are. And part of how we do that is meeting their search expectations, right? So whether your leads are looking for homes with a dock or ranch homes or homes with acreage, things like that, that aren't always searchable with checkboxes or drop downs, that's where IntelliSearch is really looking to meet site visitors where they are, right? Instead of trying to hunt down the specific search box or specific language that's used, that's really where IntelliSearch is hoping to bridge that gap, right? We hope that IntelliSearch breaks free from traditional MLS constraints by reimagining property search with SEO at its core. IntelliSearch will allow you to create engaging content pages that showcase exact listings that today's buyers and sellers are really searching for. Now, with the keyword search that we have introduced with IntelliSearch, we have unified the search interface, meaning that we still have traditional search filters, but we've removed confusing dropdowns and really enabled flexible location combinations along with things like amenities and features that your site visitors are looking for in their next home. This is really helped with instant results and providing more options. So one of the key takeaways of the why IntelliSearch that I really want to drive home is this idea that IntelliSearch is hopefully implemented to help you and your site visitors see more opportunities that might have been missed with traditional checkboxes, right? So IntelliSearch at its core is to include more opportunities. It's really not meant to find needles in haystacks, right? That's what we have the traditional search filters for, and to dial in your search. So think of IntelliSearch as opening up more opportunities for homes that maybe have been missed with traditional checkboxes, and really allowing your site visitors to bridge the gap between structured listing data and the modern search behavior. So with IntelliSearch, we're not really limited to finding one perfect match. We're hopefully empowering everyone to discover more possibilities to unlock more opportunities. Okay, here's a little bit of a user experience in IntelliSearch in the CAA.
This video is going to give you a quick overview of the IntelliSearch feature across the agent experience as well as the IDX experience. We're going to go ahead and start with the agent experience and how an agent needs to create a new safe search. Clicking on the new safe search button, you'll see the new search experience here. We've designed this to mimic a typical e-commerce website with the search criteria here on the left and real-time listing previews right here on the right. You can expand any one of these to use in your safe search. Clicking on Save and Continue will allow you to save this specific search once you're done, to then use in a content page or favorite it for an e-alert market update. We have also preserved all of your existing safe searches, such as this one, where you could see all of the previously used search criteria as well as the MLS feed that you had used to create this. You can, of course, edit this however you wish at this point in time. You will also find this new search experience in eAlert and Market Update. You'll find this in the same way as before inside the lead detail page. Clicking on either Create eAlert or Create Market Update, you'll see that we have still preserved the ability for you to use a favorite search, or you can create the new eAlert, which again pulls up that same search experience you just saw earlier. Clicking on Save and Continue here for an eAlert or Market Update is where you can also define the frequency in which you want to send this email. And you can also use this for any custom subject line. You would also use this capability when you want to deactivate a specific eAlert for a lead. All you have to do is click on Edit eAlert, click on Save and Continue, and then you can just uncheck these to then essentially deactivate it for that lead. Clicking on View to Suggest Listing will preserve all of the search criteria just as before, where you can then add a specific listing to then suggest for a lead. IntelliSearch is also carried across into your IDX experience as well. So your prospective home buyer now also has the ability to use keyword search as well as the location search feature, just like an agent would. We'll cover that in another video.
So as that video really showed you, IntelliSearch is our keyword-powered search engine to help you understand lifestyle needs and buyer languages. And it really helps with scanning listing descriptions in addition to traditional MLS data. This is the part that makes IntelliSearch return better, more relevant searches, right? And that's what we mean by that last bullet point, by finding matches missed by checkboxes alone, is now we're able to scan not only the MLS data that traditional checkboxes have, but also what's in listing descriptions. So that's what IntelliSearch is at its core. We understand that it's a little bit different of an experience for your site visitors. So hopefully you will see in our next slide here that IntelliSearch meets site visitors where they are. The experience is really designed to be intuitive, just like platforms they already use, right? And I know we got the big bad word Zillow up here in Redfin, but we have to be understanding that our site visitors are probably starting off with a Zillow or a Redfin first, right? And what we need to do is meet the site visitors where they are so that the search feels natural for them, so that they come back and use your site because it feels familiar to them, like they get with Zillow or Redfin, but they want to use your site because it's hyper local. That's where your sites win, is with your locality, right? So with this, we hope that this means less friction for your site visitors, less bounce, and more engagement, which ultimately is going to help your SEO and your organic lead generation, and really not provide or not create a learning curve for your site visitors on how to navigate your site to search for homes. So it's all about making this feel more intuitive to the experience they're already used to for them. If you haven't seen the IntelliSearch from a site visitor's perspective, here's a little preview.
IntelliSearch gives your site visitors a modern, intuitive search experience, similar to what they're used to on popular real estate websites like Zillow and Redfin. Visitors can begin their search by entering a location, zip code, or MLS number. From there, they can apply traditional filters like price range, number of bedrooms and bathrooms, and property type. In this example, the visitor is searching for single-family homes in Atlanta with 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and a price range between $600,000 and $900,000. The initial results show 514 listings, more than most buyers or sellers would want to browse through. But here's where IntelliSearch shines. If the visitor wants homes with a pool and a fenced backyard, they can simply type those details in. IntelliSearch scans for these keyword-based features, even if they're not part of standard MLS filters. Just like that, the list narrows to 5 homes, making it much more manageable. From there, visitors can continue refining their search with more keywords or filters to zero in on the properties that matter most.
Right. Oh, that's the site visitor's perspective. And so now that we went over a little bit about what IntelliSearch is, why it works, what the difference is, or not what the difference is, but how your site visitors are experiencing IntelliSearch, and not only how your users are experiencing IntelliSearch, this is where I want to go into how the sausage is made, how the IntelliSearch operates, so that hopefully you all that are watching this and that are joining me today have a better understanding of how you can build out your searches with IntelliSearch. Okay. So
We know that home buyers aren't searching by MLS criteria. When they're looking for a home today, they're really using natural language queries like energy efficient homes in Boston or homes with smart home technology. Traditionally, they would have had to translate what they're looking for into these specific checkboxes and scroll through the endless MLS search criteria to find the checkbox that best match what they're looking for. Now, with IntelliSearch, your prospective homebuyer can simply use our keyword search capability and search for homes that come with smart home technology and find the relevant listings. You see here, this first listing, it directly talks about smart home technology multiple times. This means that your leads will now spend more time on your site looking through all the relevant listings that are an exact match to what they're looking for. And by the time they register, they're going to be higher intent leads because they've already found a property that exactly matched to their specific needs.
okay, so that's a little bit about just to give you the visual of how IntelliSearch works. But I really want to walk us through the traditional or faceted search, which are the checkboxes, compared to IntelliSearch. Okay, so with your faceted traditional search, you have hard-coded MLS checkboxes. That's the user experience. You're really limited with lifestyle search capabilities. You're highly dependent on MLS field dependency, right? And it means that a particular listing may get missed if a checkbox is not checked by either your agents, you yourself, or even your site visitor on their site. Especially with your site visitors on your site, right? There's certain things where maybe they don't understand some of the technical jargon that's found in the MLS, and they just want to find a specific feature. The one that comes to mind are bonus rooms over the garage, right? Some MLSs call this a bonus room, finished room over the garage, and they call it a frog. Some call it a bonus room. And there's probably other iterations of that as well, but that's just the example that comes to mind because I remember when I was practicing and I was showing a potential client a home, they were like, yeah, I'm looking for frogs. And I had no idea in my market what that even meant because we just called it a bonus room. We assumed that all bonus rooms were over the garage and they were finished. But this client kept talking about frogs and frogs and frogs. And finally on a showing, I was like, what do you mean by frog? And they're like, oh yeah, finished room over the garage. I'm like, oh, bonus room. Yeah, we have all those. Right. So that's where MLS field dependency may not be the best experience for your site visitors. The search experience is more rigid and you have to have one-to-one matching and you have to be exact in that matching. This requires high precision and allows very low discovery. And then I don't know if you're in a market like the one I was practicing in, 88% of my traffic was on mobile. So when you try to mimic the same search experience on mobile, the drop downs are heavier. They slow those pages down. And we saw a lot of bounce rates on our search pages from mobile site visitors because of that. With IntelliSearch, we look to enhance all those things, right? So the user experience, like we mentioned in the previous video, is for keywords and listing and descriptions plus traditional MLS fields. With that, because we're looking at listing descriptions, you get more advanced lifestyle search capabilities. So things that you're writing in listing descriptions, such as pool house, open floor plan, high-end finishes, things like that are now going to be easier to find for you and your site visitors. We are not being as dependent with MLS fields, which means your buyer search experience is flexible, right? They don't have to find the one-to-one matches. And this really balances better the precision between discovery, or sorry, the balance between precision and discovery, which has now been better refined. And the mobile experience is more streamlined and keyword friendly. Okay. So here's a little bit more about how IntelliSearch works.
Think of IntelliSearch as that search experience that's bridging the gap between how people actually talk about homes and how MLS systems traditionally organize data, especially when it comes to lifestyle criteria. Let's say you have a client who wants a home between 750K and 1 million, but it has to have hardwood flooring, fencing because they have a dog, and ideally an EV charging station. Here's how you can use IntelliSearch to set that up effectively. You can start with either your traditional filters like your price range, bed, bath, or you can start with keyword search. In this case, we'll go ahead and start with the traditional filters. They mentioned that they want to live in Atlanta and 750K, as we talked about earlier, 1 million, 3 bed, 2 bath. Great. Now you see 532 results. Now, your lead mentioned those extra home features, right? Hardwood flooring, fencing, and an EV charging station. But you aren't entirely sure whether or not your MLS region have those things. No worries. You can just go ahead and use keyword search and type in the criteria that you're looking for. Let's start with fencing. So when you type in fencing, you'll see in this keyword type ahead a list of criteria that's showing you different types of fencing. This is actually pulling directly from your MLS criteria we have today. So we'll go ahead and select fencing backyard because they have a dog. And so you can do the same thing with hardwood. You can just type in hardwood and we'll show you the MLS criteria that mention hardwood. In this case, there's a criteria called flooring type : hardwood. So we'll go ahead and select that. Now, finally, your lead mentioned that they would ideally like to have that EV charging station. Now, that's likely a criteria that's not available as an MLS data point, but you can still use keyword search today and just easily type in EV charging in the keyword field. And in this type ahead, this is actually showing you that this is now going to act as a free text search. So now you see 207 results. You can easily validate if these listings have those criteria that you've just put in. In this case, for this listing, it mentions a 2-car garage with EV charging station in the listing description, and then also a backyard fencing in the MLS criteria as well as hardwood. So it's like the perfect match for you. So let's talk a little bit and break down kind of how IntelliSearch delivers better results. When you add in keywords to your search, the system works in 3 layers. First, it finds exact matches, listings that have all the criteria that you've defined, just like the listing that we saw earlier. Second, it identifies partial matches when at least half of your keywords are found. Now, this is why it's important, because most home buyers we know never actually get their complete wish list. Your clients might find that perfect home with beautiful hardwood floors and great fencing, but no EV charging station yet. IntelliSearch's partial match prevents you from showing 0 results and helps you have that important conversation of, here are the homes that match your top priorities. Let's talk about which features are must-haves and which ones you're willing to be flexible about. This helps you turn that potential dead end into productive discussions about trade-offs. There are unlimited ways to think about using IntelliSearch's keyword capability, from finding homes that are near specific schools to discovering properties with unique lifestyle features that traditional MLS filters simply can't capture. We hope this is helpful.
All right. So now this is the part of our webinar and conversation that I get most excited talking about. And this is the, how are we using IntelliSearch? What are the best practices for IntelliSearch and how can we leverage it for SEO and organic lead generation. So how to use IntelliSearch, as we've seen in multiple of those videos, it really starts with starting with the lifestyle keywords. And then from there, filtering down by price ranges, bedrooms, and bathrooms as needed, and then saving the search and reusing it for similar leads. Done a analysis here of effective keyword categories that we have found to be useful with IntelliSearch. So when you're looking for things like style of home, ranch style, craftsman, contemporary, work very well. Certain features such as guest house, open floor plan, private pool are also found along a lot of listing descriptions that have those features. Also, don't feel that you have to search for style or features, right? There's things like needs, VA, foreclosure, income potential, close to campus, things like that would be needs. And then views and locations are also good with IntelliSearch, things like lakefront, downtown, mountain views. So those are a little bit of some keyword categories, and there's more that we can expand on from style, feature, needs, views, and location that also work. But those are some just to kind of get the creative juices flowing for you all on some keyword categories that would work very well with IntelliSearch with its current iteration. And you can always mix and match these categories, right? You can do VA approved ranch style homes with a mountain view, maybe. And this is where I encourage you all to get creative with your keywords that you're using and targeting, because this is how we can use it and leverage it for SEO and lead generation, and it being IntelliSearch, right? So to use IntelliSearch for SEO and lead gen, this is where you would create the keyword rich searches, building community pages and guides around buyer or seller needs, and then linking blogs and saved searches for content clusters. This is where you and your agents can really turn IntelliSearch into a daily advantage, right? You want to, as the bullet points show here, you want to start with a broader search to uncover potential matches that prospective clients and site visitors may not have originally considered. Once you have that built out, you then layer in more specific filters to narrow your results without missing those opportunities. Right? And so here's a short video about IntelliSearch and SEO before we dive into this concept of creating pillar and content clusters.
And we've carried the same intuitive search experience into the admin portal so that you, the agent, can also capitalize on these search trends. Previously, even if you knew these home buyers were searching for smart home technology in your area, you're also limited by the same standard MLS checkboxes and fields as your buyer. These emerging features often just don't have a dedicated MLS field, making it impossible for you to target this traffic effectively. But with IntelliSearch, you can also use the same keyword functionality and look for listings that mention smart home technology. And you can see right away, these listings are the same listings that your home buyers just saw earlier. And if you operate across multiple regions, we've unified all the listings in one single view. So as you can see here, where we've defaulted you to all feeds included. So you just have to focus on inputting the search criteria without worrying about which feed the listing is on. Plus, you can combine different location types in one seamless search. So imagine you have a client that's saying, I want to live near Jackson Elementary School, but I could also be open to properties near Cumming, Georgia. Previously, you would have needed to run these separate searches for each location type. Now you can just search for both in a single view. And what's more is that as you're refining the criteria, the results are updating here in real time. So no more having to save the search and click back and forth. You can get immediate feedback with IntelliSearch. We've also given you more control as a local expert. If you find any listings that you don't want to include, you can easily remove that listing that don't fit the content strategy by simply clicking on the X here on the listing card. This means that when you're setting up the e-alert or creating content pages targeting these trending features, you're ensuring that your clients see only the most relevant and expertly curated set of listings. And so now you can create targeted and curated community pages for homes with smart home technology or homes with smart thermostat, showing that exact match and relevant listings to capture that organic traffic. And you can also cross-link this to your existing blog post that talks about smart home technology, setting you up to be the topical authority on this emerging trend. It's another way IntelliSearch it helps you demonstrate your market expertise while capturing that valuable organic traffic. We're excited to see how you'll use these capabilities to better serve your clients for more organic traffic.
So what that video explained there at the end is my favorite part of IntelliSearch, like I've been mentioning throughout this entire webinar. And it's the ability now to showcase your local expertise. And if you're familiar with SEO practices, and Google specifically, there's EAT, right? And part of that EAT is expertise, authority, and trust. And one of the best ways that you can create your expertise, authority, and trust is with this idea of creating content clusters. So the idea here is to create a pillar page for a specific community or neighborhood page, right? So think things like living in a specific city, living in Louisville, Kentucky, living in Lexington, Kentucky. And then you use that pillar page to create supporting content pages or blog posts, right? So I have one pillar page here in my example, and my supporting blog post can be best neighborhoods in Louisville for families, Louisville commute times explained, pros and cons of moving to Louisville, right? So I've taken that one pillar page now and I've created supporting blogs that are going to link back to that community page. Another idea with specifically using keyword search is like maybe buying new construction homes. So my pillar content page would be new construction homes in my area. I'm then going to author supporting blog posts that directly link back to that community page. And those blogs could be something like what to know about builder contracts, new construction versus resale, which is better for you, design center tips for custom homes. And there's a lot more that you can obviously build off of those pillar pages, right? You can also use examples like pool, uh, you know, pools with home communities with pools, like a neighborhood pool, right? And you could create your supporting blogs off of that. IntelliSearch really isn't an either or solution, so it's really best if you're creating the pillar pages with any of these keyword searches that you might have, and then support with those blog posts, right? So that's content clusters, and that's really where IntelliSearch can come in and help you with your organic lead generation, your authority, your trust, and your SEO, right? Because now you're not only just creating one content page about new construction homes in your area, you're creating, if you use this outline, 4 pages all to do with new construction homes that help direct more traffic, more local traffic to your websites, right? We're nearing the end here, and I know we have some comments in the chat and the Q&A that I would definitely want to get into. So we're going to go through best practices and troubleshooting so far. So I really encourage everyone watching this, either recording or joining me here right now, to periodically review your saved searches, right? What buyers may want today may not be what they're asking for in 30 days or even in 10 days. Markets evolve, neighborhoods develop, listing language shifts. I mean, for those of you who've been writing listing descriptions, how have listing descriptions evolved over the past 5 years? right? But forget 5 years. Over the past 2 years with ChatGPT and Bard and Gemini and other LLMs helping us create more robust and descriptive listing descriptions, right? So that's all. The listing language is always evolving, and especially evolving across region. So refreshing your saved searches and updating your keywords allow you to ensure that your sites remain highly relevant to continue to deliver top-notch search results that reflect what is actually being searched for. So best practice number one, keep your searches fresh. Troubleshooting tips. So there are two big areas or issues that we currently see our clients experiencing with IntelliSearch. The first issue is too many results are coming in from IntelliSearch, right? And the fix here is just to add filters or more specific keywords to dwindle the number of listings down, right? So adjustments are normal, especially as you fine tune your searches. So broad keywords can flood results with listings that aren't relevant. Using filters like price, bedrooms, or locations help really tighten up those matches. On the other side of though, we can see that maybe not enough results are showing up. If you're getting too few results, relax on some of these filters or use more general keywords, right? Things like modern farmhouse with solar panels might return very limited options. Whereas if you widen that, maybe it's just like farmhouse, energy efficient, widen the net, and then you can always refine it back. Also, one thing to keep in mind here is regional listing language can vary. So switching your terminology slightly may yield better results, especially if you're working in multiple MLSs or across different regions, right? And you have a regional MLS, for example. Switch your terminology might be better for you to get more results. And that's the whole goal of IntelliSearch, right? Is to provide more opportunities that might have been missed with traditional checkboxes. If listings aren't showing up, it could be due to data sync timing, especially for newly listed properties. So always double check the work that IntelliSearch is providing you. And as always, we want to help you refine those searches and get the listings that you're looking for. The key here, though, is when we're troubleshooting listings aren't showing up, is IntelliSearch is not designed to do one-to-one matching exactly as you're getting in the MLS. Right? It's actually designed to give more opportunities. So if you're finding a specific search in your MLS is yielding 200 properties, but IntelliSearch is giving you 212, that's what IntelliSearch wants to do. It doesn't want to give you exactly what you're finding in the MLS specifically. It wants to open up and broaden those opportunities for you and your site visitors. All right. What's new and upcoming? I know there's a couple comments about like, hey, what's the plan for this or what's coming up? So we do want to be more transparent about IntelliSearch and what's coming next. So one of the things that we have realized with IntelliSearch was maybe the keyword matching or the fuzzy matching wasn't perfect. So this was an enhancement that we have recently made, and this is the type ahead enhancement. You might have missed it in a couple of videos prior, but I wanted to showcase it. So if you look at the screen here and you type in things like pool or garage, what we have now are type aheads where you can see, okay, is this a garage side or rear entrance? Is this a private pool? If you type something in like single, is it single family home, a dock, single slip, right? If you type in ranch, is this a ranch style home? Are you looking for a franchise? So we do have the type ahead that has been for fuzzy matching. So we really enhanced the matching logic. So partial and fuzzy matching has been enhanced with that type ahead that I just showed you in this previous video. And we hope that this really provides better balance of discovery and precision. But we're also looking for feedback and suggestions on improvements, right? So if you are either just looking to learn more about IntelliSearch and get reminded of everything in this webinar, you can go ahead and scan that QR code. which takes you to the link. And on that page, you'll also find a feedback form. So we invite participation. Hopefully you've seen with IntelliSearch that we are open to feedback and really committed to user-driven development with things like the type ahead search, right? It's one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we received is, hey, we're not sure that the results are showing up for things that aren't exactly found or worded exactly like in the listing description. And that's where we have made the enhancements with the type ahead search so that you can see partial or fuzzy matches. So your site visitors and you yourself can receive and see those listings that might be showing up, or make sure that you're using the correct keywords. Okay. So this is what we have for our IntelliSearch webinar today. And we have about 10 minutes or so. So I know that we have some chat or some Q&A messages, and I'm happy to dive into these as we can. So if you have any questions or things about IntelliSearch, or even doesn't have to be IntelliSearch related, feel free to put those in the chat or the Q&A, and we're happy to go through them. So starting on, giving you all some time to type, this comment came in earlier. Are there plans to bring keyword search more visible to the end user? Yes, that's something that we're looking at optimizing with IntelliSearch. If you have feedback on or a vision or a mental model of what that looks like or how you envision that being, please, 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 we encourage you to scan that QR code and provide that feedback in the form. Another comment on future plans. So you're planning on bringing the keyword search up to the main page, especially for mobile, since it's currently buried. That is something that can be discussed, right? It's not totally off. It's not totally on. Those are things. This is one of those things when we talk about IntelliSearch and having user-driven development that we would love your feedback on. Is this something that you feel strongly about? Do we need to move where keyword search is? And that type of feedback is very valuable for our product and our engineering teams to say, okay, this is what the expectation is. What is capable with our programming? How can we do those things? Does that make sense to do those things? Does that fit? So those two comments are great feedback that we would love to get from you directly. And if you fill out that form that's found on that QR code, that feedback will go directly to our product engineering and engineering teams for review. Right. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, so here's a comment. I think we were talking about content clusters here, or the keyword search. Nice concept, depending on whether or not users can find it and whether or not it actually delivers the same results, no matter what the keyword the user puts in. And so this is where I'll remind that, the intent of IntelliSearch is not to get exact matches as you would use with your MLS and the checkboxes and that faceted search, right? Again, IntelliSearch is designed to open up more opportunities that might have been missed by the rigidity of those checkboxes that are found in the MLS. Another comment here in the Q&A, if they type in single level, but our MLS categorizes single level homes as one-story, will it pull up the same number of results? This is a great comment. So this is current feedback that our product and engineering teams are working through. And so the current plan is to enhance this and make it better for that exact use case. Things like single level and one story may not be always matching correctly to give you or your site visitors those opportunities. So that is currently being worked on and developed by the product and engineering teams. Oh, great question here. Can we combine IntelliSearch and checkbox search? Can you give us a list of those rare keywords? So yes, can you combine IntelliSearch and checkbox search? Yes, that's exactly what the experience is now. You have your keyword search, and then you have your checkboxes for things like price range, bedrooms, bathrooms, and type of home. Like if it's a rental or residential, commercial, those things, those are still there with the checkboxes, right? And then any of the other like amenities or features that used to be checkboxes, those are all found with IntelliSearch now with the keyword search. And unfortunately, we can't give a list of rare keywords because, as we mentioned previously, um, keywords vary by region, right? And so your region might have keywords that are more rare than others that we just aren't aware of. So we encourage you really to do a keyword search on your own. There's a lot of free resources that you can use on that. But also like putting yourself in your site visitors shoes and just running a search and what you're trying to find is also very helpful, getting friends and family feedback. And this is where I would also encourage this is a good reach out and contact attempt that you can make for maybe for some of your latent leads or some of these leads that maybe haven't been as engaged with you in CRM. One of the things that I love doing when I was prospecting and managing my database was to reach out to leads. And instead of saying, hey, are you looking for anything right now? Or are you looking to make a move now or in the future? I would use like a tech call script. Hey, I have actually enhanced my website with a new keyword search. I would love if you could give us some feedback on how that search is working for you. Are there any specific keywords that you're looking for that maybe aren't being found in your searches? And this is really good to start a conversation with those leads and really using it as a way to, hey, we are wanting feedback. We do want to list those rare keywords, but also we want to use it as a way to kind of open the door to conversion, right? Because the hardest part about converting leads is having them to have a conversation with you. Once they have the conversation or they open themselves up to having the conversation, I'm confident that all of your users can convert the leads. But it's that middle piece of like getting them to open up and to start that conversation with you where IntelliSearch can help in that kind of adjacent area. It's like, hey, you're looking for feedback. And any feedback that you get from your site visitors, again, we're happy to receive that feedback from you from by filling out this form on that QR code. So great question there because I think there's opportunity for IntelliSearch and to talk about IntelliSearch with your current database and get them to use your site if they haven't been on in a long time, or if they have been on or haven't been on, whatever it might be, just to open up lines of communication. Right? It's a different type of call script than your traditional, hey, what are you looking for? And when are you going to be ready to buy or list? Okay, got a couple more minutes for some questions here if you all have any. Okay, we have a comment. Please address how this works on sites with multiple feeds. So this was addressed in a previous slide and maybe it was missed. So let me go up and find that video again. Okay, so I'm going to, what's the best way to do this? To answer the question as I play this video here, your IntelliSearch works with multiple
Think of IntelliSearch as that search
oops,
experience that's
with multiple MLSs. If you look for the data sources in that drop down, which in a second, this when this video plays again, it'll show. It's defaulted to all feeds, but you have the opportunity to select your feeds from there. So the way that IntelliSearch works is it'll look for those keywords across listing descriptions and the MLS fields from each of those MLSs and just provide it within the data source there. But let me go ahead and just keep playing the video.
bridging the gap between how people actually talk about homes and how MLS systems traditionally organize data, especially when it comes to lifestyle criteria. And fencing and keyword type
I'm going to
fencing
skip ahead
matches
because I know we've already watched this
on
once. And I want to show
EV charging station
the data sources here.
results. So just like the listing that we most home buyers, we no EV charging station yet. IntelliSearch
Okay, that might have been the wrong video. Okay, bear with me 1 second. Let me go ahead and pull up an example for you. Okay, so here's a live example. If you click on the data sources, you'll see you have your MLS feeds. And this is where we'll default to all MLS feeds included, or you can search by specific MLS feed there. And maybe we are not talking about from the back end, because I see your other comment, but the MLS fields are often named differently or similar thing. I think you're talking about the search experience from the client's from a site visitor's perspective on the MLS fields. Is that right? Correct. All right, well, let's look at it. So if you see here, the user experience is that they do not need to select a specific MLS, right? They just need to search like they would intuitively from like a Zillow or a Redfin. And then they go into the keyword search and they can type in, to your example, like golf, right? And now they'll see communities with golf or golf course or whatever the feature is, golf course front, whatever it is. So it's going to pull from that. And yes, this site does have multiple MLS fields attached to it. So you're seeing the experience this way. So it should be more intuitive for your site visitors, where previously they would have to choose a specific MLS to search in. Now there's no choosing of the MLS. They just start typing. And the way that they would filter this, like let's say I'm in LA market and I'm in San Francisco markets, but I want to find homes with that are on a golf course, for example. This is then where you just choose, they'll type in their location because they'll see they could get listings from anywhere that are going to be found in all of your MLS fields. So this is where they're going to need to use the location as a way to filter down those search results better. All right, that was a great last question. Thank you so much for all of your participation. This does bring us to time, but again, we are looking for feedback. So if you do have anything about IntelliSearch, maybe it wasn't covered quite in this presentation, or you just have feedback in general, I'm going to put up here before we end that QR code one last time. And again, we would love to have your feedback and anything and everything in IntelliSearch. We do want this to be where you all participate, and we really help and deliver the feature with your thoughts and feedback in mind. So please feel free to go to this page and fill out that feedback form. I hope you have a great rest of your day and happy selling out there.